Hi, this is Manal, and I welcome you on behalf of Platinum Global Solutions to our series of online interview sessions. We are proud and glad to have you as an upcoming speaker at the conference of RFID, NFC, and track and trace innovations embracing the COVID-19 world. Thank you so much for taking our time from your busy schedule. Before we kickstart the interview, I would like to have a brief introduction about you, your professional career, and the area of expertise in which you're working.
Uh, Thank you very much. My introduction, I'm Thorsten Mebs. I'm the passionate supply chain coach, 47 years old, and I've been working in the chemical industries for the last 20 years in supply chain and logistics in almost all functions along the entire chain. I did a hell of a lot of projects and change management initiatives, started new jobs, new programs or new departments, restructuring, planning, whatever it is. I've almost stepped into everything also around the world, being in vessels, airplanes, as well as starting new planning tools. So my strength is more or less the interlink between all these things, the invisible band that keeps all things together. And hence I understand what makes a difference if you run supply chain properly. And the future of supply chain is the future of business. It's not business and product against product, but it is more about a competition of digitized supply chains in the future. And that is where I think I have an own way and approach, and the people can take a little bit more of inspiration from me and also support. I can consult and support everybody here, more or less. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let's move on to our first question. So, what do you think about the global ongoing pandemic situation and about its impact? What do you think it is going to have? It does have the impact on the businesses worldwide.
Yeah, it definitely has an impact on the businesses worldwide, but you just need to simply understand how value chains work. And that is where we are in the field of supply chain. If we just look into Germany, we currently have a lockdown and all the restaurants and things are shut down, but that's not just, they are only affected, but there's suppliers behind, bottling of drinks and food, and this is going then through the entire chain into packaging, into glass bottles, whatever. There's a big value chain behind, and so these things are impacted completely due to the globalization, and that is something where we need to step out as soon as possible. I think we see it currently in New Zealand. They are almost corona free because they kept it with discipline. And that is the benefit of supply chain and logistics, as well as for the pandemic. If we just would have kept discipline in some of the measurements right from the beginning, the processes, keep it as it is. People arriving at the airport, for example, also in Germany, just keep them there until the test is negative, then continue, and not don't let them go at home and then make a test in the next 3 days. In the meantime, you have infected 20 people. Or also in the shops, have your card, which is disinfected by a gateway guy standing there. Discipline and processes would help to recover with the economy. And that is hopefully, I think, the advantage out of the pandemic that the people see. We need to carve out resilient supply chains with discipline and also with risk management to see what can we do if something happens, and we should pre-think what can be done to avoid these troubles.
Okay, wonderful. So, since you are an industry expert, so according to your experience, what briefly just explain the current situation of your industry and what is your forecast related to it?
So the issue is a little bit that I'm currently a freelancer, so I'm not directly in the industry, but regarding to the chemical industry, my observation is that the pandemic has shaken the value chains. So some forwarders and also suppliers and raw materials are shut down that plant, and you have a side effect product which is not available. So you have some products available, some not. So it's very fragmented, and these things need to recover. And I think what's required here is a proper approach of planning. And if we think about the conference, a proper approach of planning is also related to a proper approach of data availability to whatever device or IoT or RFID possible. That is exactly the point. And there, I think the companies and industry needs to understand, and hopefully has understood, to invest in these things, because this will help to become more resilient. The better the data is, the better you can plan. The better you can plan, the better you utilize your plants, and the better you make margin and grow your business, even within an uneasy situation, because you know what to do and how to change maybe the lines and the production. That is what I think and feel. The other is, as a freelancer, it's uneasy. There's no projects or whatever in that intensity. Only if you're in a big company, like I think Boston Consulting, for example, I assume they would have a lot of projects because they are set a long time. But for small-sized and medium companies, it's an uneasy situation, but they need digital transformation and support much more than a very big one, because for them it's about surviving. Yeah.
Quite thoughtful, quite thoughtful. So, what changes have you introduced in terms of the business and operation strategies?
The last one I have done was a change from the traditional sales and operations planning towards integrated business planning, but not just system driven. We did it more in the way, how is a modern planning integration of business along all functions, above all hierarchies, global, regional, local, has to come together. A different way of collaboration approach is required nowadays. And this we have tried to figure out and have started some pilot, and in the end, we're very successful in tactical as well as on operational level. You need to link these things and allow communication back and forth. Silo mentality is something which you cannot afford any longer. And that is the funny story. Sometimes I love to explain or tell about that to the people. If you look into LinkedIn, you can reach out to a CEO of another company who has just written a report or sent a message, and then you comment on it and you interact with him. But in your own company, due to hierarchy, you don't dare doing that. But this is something we need and are forced to change that, because we need to break open the silos, sit together and say, okay, what is the challenges? Please have a look onto it. What are the risks, and how can we close the gap, and who's responsible? And then just do it. And those people who are sitting there and are deciding need to be empowered, and everybody needs to understand, hey, we are on one boat, and not I'm marketing your production and then beating each other bloody. Because the next step would be to cross borders and go into the same dialogue with your customers and suppliers. You need them to allow to collaborate and maybe grow together. Your growth should allow them to grow as well. And this needs a completely different mindset in the way we operate. And that is something I will also cover a little bit in my presentation.
That's interesting. Okay, so since these are very extraordinary times, so how have you adapted in terms of your strategies, in terms of your techniques and tools, if I may say? How have you adapted yourself?
I myself have adapted that I'm sitting here in a remote office and have a window to the world in a communication with you like now. And also I started to rethink how we can improve processes with digital tools and to try to simplify these things. And then there I am also in some partnership programs to see how can we make use of tools, and then the people need to understand them very simplified. And I just have one of a production platform. I'm a partner of Possible, where I just figure out it's not just for manufacturing, but where are the triggers in a company with a checklist to simplify these things, to share information with the people. And I'm preparing myself and start to understand these things inside out. As an experienced supply chain manager, I know the demand and the requirements of processes as such. And now I can just see what can the tool do for me. And the fortunate thing is that the modern tools are that flexible. It's not these broad, big ERP systems. You have simple tools. You just need to be able to manipulate and then make a new process or mapping, and then share with the people, simplify training. And that's possible now. And fortunately, with cloud-based solutions everywhere, you can link these tools, and then maybe you can just get some tools together and create your own business processes, and not just you have a big ERP and then you need to prepare your processes according to the system, or vice versa. make your collection and do it the way you require it. And that's possible now with the cloud. All these things can be harmonized and communicate. It's fantastic. And so I love playing with all these tools at the moment. We have also a Morpheus network. I'm partner here for a logistics blockchain, where we digitize documents, where we have a look into the supplier to upload that, to send it via the chain. We can share it to the people who require the information, but also I was sitting together as a former customer or purchaser of raw materials. I said, okay, what does a plant need to see and to look on them? So we created a cockpit and I said, okay, this is the as-is process, this is how it should be, and where's the goods? And with prescriptive analytics, not just in demand planning, we also can predict when the material is arriving in reality, so the plant can really schedule its production, and that makes a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I didn't have those fantastic tools in my own past, but now I hope that I can support the people to say, please use it, because you will really benefit it, and don't need Excel and a lot of manual work and where's my documents and delays. You can avoid all these things. So that's how I prepare myself and starting digging much deeper into the details. And on the other side, it's also about education. I'm applying a lot of certification programs and trainings now with the ISCEA, International Supply Chain Education Alliance, because education is a key cornerstone. If the people don't understand the things they are working with, then it will be a challenge, and it must be easy to achieve, simple to access, but also good enough in the content, to train the people.
Sounds really interesting. Very thoughtful answer. So last question of the session. So what are your expectations from the e-conference, and what valuable insights the audience can expect from your presentation session?
My expectation is to have hopefully a lot of good discussions and a lot of questions, because we have seen it in many conferences around the globe that the people are hesitating asking questions, but that's an opportunity. If you're in a conference, ask questions. There's expertise available, and challenge each other. That is, otherwise we don't step out of the pandemic, and we are all trying to open our minds and then offer solutions and dialogue. And I think that is what the people should just take the opportunity of. And therefore, I invite everybody to really challenge my presentation, because I'm also looking in a different cornerstone along with the traditional one. So everybody's talking about people, process, and technology. More or less, that's right. Yes, indeed, but not just fact-based. The people is one of the corner elements here, but there's a fourth cornerstone, and that is sustainability. If you see Fridays for Future and generation change, then we need to prepare for that. And everybody who's not preparing as a company for this generation change will have big issues in a couple of years from now. So it's time to do and act now. Like the United Nations also have said, it's the decade of action. So also I'm part of some sustainability initiatives. We just have written a new certification program about sustainability in supply chain with the ISCEA, because we need to ground that know-how, because you will have to focus on sustainable supply chains in future, along with how to grow business. So this must go hand in hand together. That is a big challenge, but as always, a solution there. Just start and try.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Thorsten, for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. And we really look forward to listening to you at our e-conference. Good luck.
Thank you very much. I'm also thrilled to be there.